Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Balance Doctor. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Be sure to subscribe to The Kim Jacobs Show right on YouTube. Turn on your notification bell to all so you never miss a beat. And guess what? Every time you watch, you're going to receive a real relevant and relatable guest that's going to share with you a piece of the puzzle on this journey called life that will help you be able to manage just a little bit smoother. At the end of the day, the Kim Jacobs Show goal is to be able to provide balance to the world, one household at a time.
Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you over there, Joy Allen? You're on mute.
Amazing. Thank you. How are you, Kim?
I'm doing wonderful. I see your shirt. Fling your hair back and let us see the word joy. Yes, joy, unspeakable joy. Yes. Today we're going to be talking from a mental health perspective on how to know that, yes, the mental struggle may be real, but so is God. And Joy Allen is here to talk to us about that. Grab your virtual seats. Let us know where you're visiting in from. We know that people visit in from all over the country, all over the world, actually. So please make sure you let us know if you're stopping in. Sometimes people are stopping in from the Philippines, from Hawaii, you name it. People, Greece, everybody. I'm like, what? I didn't even know all these people were on there. But make sure you type a comment so we can acknowledge you today in the virtual studio audience. Joy Allen, where do you live?
I currently live in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm in the Midwest.
All right. I saw that. Yeah, I saw the 614 area code. So I figured that was the Ohio area. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I'm glad to meet you.
You as well.
Looking forward to our discussion. So everyone that's here today, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the comment section. And what we're going, hey, Jaleesa, how are you? All the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Thank you so much. Make sure you all share this broadcast. And during the commercial break, Joy, I don't know if we're friends. Are we friends on Facebook? I don't know.
I believe so.
Okay, well, if we are, then share it over to your friends as well so they can be a part of today's discussion, okay, during the commercial break.
Absolutely.
All right. And so listen, everyone, when we come back, I see you from Pennsylvania, Hakima Ali. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio audience. Pop your questions in, your shout outs. Talk to other people in the virtual studio audience. Say, hey, girl, I see you over there. I see that you came up in the studio. Whatever works. Make sure you have a great experience. Okay. So right after this commercial break, which I'm going to be telling you right now about one of our episode sponsors, which is none other than Snow Legal. The Snow Legal Group. You can learn more about them at snowlegal.com. If you're dealing with personal injury of any sort, then make sure that you reach out to them, 704-358-0026, and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. They're located in multiple states, so just reach out to them to find out if they can serve you in your respective area. Right after this commercial break, we're going to come back, and I'm going to formally introduce Joy Allen to the world. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or rideshare, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation. Located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
All right, everyone. And we are back with Joy Allen, Yolanda Joy Allen to be exact. She's the Joy Coach, and she's a mental health advocate, certified mental health coach, two-time best-selling author, motivational speaker, and certified life coach. And she actually studied psychology and Christian counseling at Liberty University, where she received multiple certifications as a life coach from Light University and the AACC, American Association of Christian Counselors. So this woman is not only certified, but she also is an advocate. And her desire is to be able to help others who struggle finding peace and joy in their lives due to their own self-limiting beliefs, low self-esteem, self-doubt, depression, different things that come about in our lives. So her desire is to empower all kinds of women who suffer from these different type of things mentally to be able to heal. So we are so excited to have Joy Allen right here today on the Kim Jacobs Show.
And I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Kim.
All right, Joy. So talk to us. What made you become so passionate about mental health in particular, especially with this being Mental Health Awareness Month?
Oh, wow. Well, it goes way back from my childhood. Mental health has always been something that I've been very passionate about. It started as when I was a child growing up and seeing my own mom struggle with her mental illness.
Okay.
And of course, as a child, you don't understand what mental illness is. You just know something's not right, or your mom's not like some of your other friends' moms and things like that. And so you kind of get upset, and you're like, okay, what's going on? What's wrong with my mom? Why can't we live a normal life and do what other people are doing and live like my friends are living? And so just growing up in a household, seeing my mom struggle with it was the start for me.
Interesting. Now, when you say seeing your mom struggle and comparing it, sounds like your mom to other moms. How did your mom ultimately get the help that she needed based on what you were able to observe?
Well, my mom, she, basically, she was put on medication, and she was also in and out of, hospitals. So, and different mental health, facilities. So back then, that was back in the 80s, there wasn't as much help, that as they have now, and the resources that they have now. So back then they would literally, institutionalize a person. And so they would put them
Right.
in a mental hospital for long periods of time. So there would be like months when I wouldn't even see my mom. Or if I did see her, I would have to visit her in a hospital.
Good. That's interesting. Good update. Because you know what? When you're saying this, what it makes me get in the mind of is that now that treatment is available, now that counseling is acceptable, and now that people can say, this is what's happening to me, and kind of becoming an advocate for themselves, or even in your case, back in the day, becoming an advocate for your mom and saying, my mom, I'm observing something as a child that's different. Not because you're trying to be somebody else's daughter, but because you're observing that something's going on different here that might need to be addressed. But then even from a child's perspective, I don't know, I can't speak from your perspective, but I wonder, would a child feel uneven uncomfortable, even in today's time, speaking up if their parent has mental related kind of issues? Because then child youth services might come in. So I wonder, what were some of your thoughts going through from a younger child's perspective? And how did you realize that this is mental health crisis and break that needs to be resolved? Because I don't know, from a child's perspective, I like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. And from my perspective, it was hard to kind of really understand exactly what it was, because mental health
Mm.
wasn't really addressed as commonly as it is now.
Right.
As it was back then it was different. So back then people just got labeled as being crazy or being touched in the head, or just, some kind of words that they would come up with. So, it was something that was really like, the stigma was really bad back then. Like, we still have a stigma to deal with now,
Right.
but really back then the stigma was even worse. And so, and especially in the Black community, unfortunately, it wasn't something that we took as seriously as, we do now. And so it would be something to where we would just tell a person, well, oh, well, that's, that person's, they're not right in the head, or they have issues or something like that. And so it wouldn't really be something that would be addressed. And so as a child, you really don't understand. You can just hear what other adults are saying, but you really don't understand exactly what's going on and what the real issue is.
That's interesting. Okay, yeah. And so you decided that this was going to become your cause, your mission. And when did that say gel for you? When did that become that this is it? I'm going to school, I'm going to get accredited, I'm going to get my certification, I'm going to start helping people in this situation. Is it strictly because of what you observed with your mom that pushed you, and that's your why? Or are there other whys as well?
So yeah, my mom was definitely the beginning of that. So as my mom, just growing up seeing her with her issues, and when I became a teenager, I developed my own issues as well. So
Okay.
I fell into depression and dealt with major anxiety as well. And that led me to my first suicide attempt at about the age of 15, to where
Mhm.
I was feeling hopeless, I was feeling helpless, I was feeling worthless, I was feeling those dark thoughts and suicidal thoughts to
Mhm.
where I just didn't want to live anymore. So I attempted suicide, and that led me to my first hospitalization, to where I began to get counseling and get help. And then once I started getting help and seeing that, okay, you don't have to live like this, you don't have to go through this, and just seeing that help is available,
Mhm.
and it is out there. And so as I, grew up and got older, and then I said, well, this is what I want to do. I want to help people because people need help and people are suffering. They're suffering in silence, and I want to do my part to make sure that I can help give back so people don't have to suffer anymore.
I'm really grateful that you took that approach of helping others not go through what you were experiencing as a child, what you experienced in your teenage years, and even the fact that you say, suicide attempt. And because I've never attempted suicide, I can never speak from something that I've never experienced. All I can do is bring on experts like yourself to say, hey, this is something I personally have overcome, and as a result, you're going to help so many people that are watching today. And this may be this is a Kim question. I don't know the answer, so that's why I have to ask. Okay, when people say suicide attempt, what I don't understand. I really personally don't understand yet when a person attempts suicide, but then they didn't succeed. How does that process work? Is that something you feel comfortable sharing? Because I would love the answer to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when a person attempts suicide, so there are different, I believe, different levels of, suicide attempts. I mean, and the reason why, and there's also reasons why people attempt it and don't succeed. And according to statistics, a lot more men tend to succeed with suicide than women because of the methods that they choose to use.
Okay.
So with some people, like with myself personally, I chose to take a bottle of pills.
Okay, so
And
there are different things that people, well, clearly if somebody does something, even people that shoot and try to attempt to kill themselves that way sometimes survive.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
have my own theory on that too, but I didn't know. I wanted to hear. Go ahead.
Yeah, so with that, so with the pills, and then if someone, and a lot of times sometimes a person doesn't want to really kill themselves. It's a cry for help.
That's
I
what I
know
was
for me it
wondering.
was a cry for help, but I wanted, it's like I didn't want to deal with it anymore, but also it was a cry for help. So I took
Okay.
the pills, and then I called and told someone I took the pills. I called 911.
Okay. That's important. You're like, so we have an expert on our show, and she's the woman of many hats, but she's attempted suicide 4 different times. She talked about that. And so what you're saying is you officially also you took the pills, then you called somebody and said what?
I said, I just took some pills. I just OD'd, overdosed on some pills, and I need help. And then they asked me why did I do it, and I told them I didn't want to live anymore, or I couldn't take it anymore.
Oh my God. Okay, so what can people do? This is let me put this hotline up here. It's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. And you can call, can you call anonymously? I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
And just say, what? It help me. Just
Yeah.
cry out for help. Do not go to any final decisions in your life without just call this number. Reach out to Joy Allen, Joy Allen at gmail.com. Someone who's saying that she has already attempted suicide in her own life. She know how low she was at that point, where at that point all hope was gone technically. And she reached out to somebody to be able to help get her through a very difficult dark time in her life. So thejoyallen@gmail.com. We also have Vicki L. Evans, who is a part of our expert team here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So feel free to reach out to Vicki Evans. Right now, I know she had her mom just transitioned to be with the Lord. So, she's dealing with grief herself as well. But just know that she has been in that mode multiple times, and she will be more than happy to advise you and give you some good, wise counsel as well. Wow. I'm so glad that your friend, whoever that is, shout out to you, friend of Joy Allen, for intervening on her behalf. And I don't know, that makes my heart just melt, because there are so many people in this world that are considering ending their lives when they have so much to offer the world. And they don't know the value that they are and the value that they bring to the rest of the world. But how do you get a person to see that if they don't see it for themselves? I don't know the answer.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's a lot more children as young as 6 years old that are even taking their lives. And you would even think, like, how can a child that young even want to take their lives? Like, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And that's why I'm, so passionate about this and about us getting the word out there and making mental health something that's a normalized thing, and how we need to take our mental health as seriously as we do our physical health.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I want to get across. That's something that's so important. And it will help save lives in doing so.
Wow. Okay, listen. So when we come back after this commercial break, I want to know some tips from you on how people can see the big picture before it gets to that end phase, because sometimes when people get that far gone, it's hard to reel them back in. It's like, come on, come back. But it's like, no, I needed help all along. I did not need you to just wait until I had made my final decision. And there are so many of us that have family and children and adult siblings and loved ones. We don't even know what they're thinking and what is the all hope is lost for them. So anyway, I just want to, and statistically, according to the National Alliance of Mental Illness, 1 in 5 adults experience mental problems each year. Thank you, Cassandra, and our team for sending this in. Anxiety is the #1 mental disorder in the United States, affecting 40 million adults. But anxiety can be treated, everybody, just so we know, okay? But it affects 40 million adults. And some of the top states that have the highest level of serious mental illness is Virginia, Texas, Alaska, Tennessee, Oregon, Iowa, Kentucky, Minnesota, New Mexico, and Ohio. Those were the top 10 states. And what I'm going to do is put this actual statistical ranking state by state and all of the information that we have here from World Population Review right here in the actual comment section for you all, so that you have the statistics and some solutions. Listen, I see all of your virtual comments coming in. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to hear some tips from Joy Allen, and we're going to go to our virtual studio audience so that any of the questions that you have while she's here, ask them. Do not get off of this show today without getting your questions answered, especially if you're at your wit's end. Do not let this show end without you getting some type of solution to your situation, okay? Or a friend, whoever, put it as a friend, say whatever you need to say for it to get the resolution. Okay, today's episode is also sponsored by Silver Shield Security. Silver Shield Security, they have state-of-the-art equipment, night vision cameras, you name it, they have it. It's an African-American owned company, and I would love for you to support them. 704-440-4688. All right, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you.
It's not just another day. It's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
Okay, we are back and we're talking with Joy Allen. I was typing your question backstage, Mackenzie, but I didn't finish typing it to ask you if you wanted to come on as well to share any piece of your story. But definitely know that you're welcome if you want to pop on. She's backstage helping me. Listen, tell us a couple of tips that would be something you would share with the public here on how to not get to that point of suicide contemplation.
Okay, yes, absolutely. So a couple of things that honestly that I'm just learning myself how to do. Because if you're like me, and you're a people pleaser and you don't know how to say no, and you're used to being a caretaker, taking care of everybody but yourself. That was me my entire life. And this past year, it's like I'm literally just learning about self love and self care, that it's okay to take care of you.
Yes.
It's okay to say no. And it's okay to set boundaries. So these three things are so important. First of all, you have to know, it starts with self love, loving yourself. And that's something I've had a really big problem with, because as a Christian, I grew up thinking, we're supposed to love everyone and take care of everyone. And so I thought that in doing so, I'm doing the right thing as long as I'm taking care of everyone else. But I thought loving myself was being selfish.
Right.
And that's a lie from the enemy. That is the furthest thing from the truth. And the thing that set me free from that is I thought about in a good book where it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if our creator didn't want us to love ourselves, he wouldn't say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So we're supposed to love ourselves. God created us. He loves us. So he doesn't want us not to love us as well. So it starts first with self-love. If you love yourself, then it's going to lead to self-care, where you're going to take care of yourself. You're not going to put more on yourself than you can bear. If you get stressed out, or if things start building up and you keep piling things on and on and on, then what will happen is eventually you will explode. It will lead to the anxiety, the depression, and all the other issues, and the overwhelming stress, which continues to build up and causes the issues, the mental issues and everything. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And we've all heard that, the saying with, we have to pour into our cup. We keep pouring into others, pouring into the others. And then if we're going to pour into others, we have to make sure it's full first, so that we will be able to pour into others. So I've been learning all of this firsthand, because I kept pouring and pouring and pouring, and to where I became so depleted. And I remember being in therapy not long ago. And yes, I believe in Jesus and therapy, okay? We need both at times. And so I remember being in therapy and my therapist telling me, she's like, Joy, not only have you been pouring, pouring, pouring and your cup is empty, but she said, your cup is gone. You don't have a cup anymore because you've been pouring so much into others. To me, that was a wake-up call. That was a wake-up call. And during that time, which wasn't even too long ago, I felt overwhelmed. I was going back into that dark place, and I started having those thoughts again. And so I had to, and I became overwhelmed with trying to do so much and trying to take care of everyone else and trying to build this and build that, to where it was overwhelming me. It was stressing me out. So I had to literally just take a sabbatical. I had to check out. I was like, okay, Lord, it's time. And I just told my friends, I told, some of the people that follow me on the Joy Club and so, at Clubhouse and things. And I said, I need to take a moment for myself. I'm going to be away for a while. So sometimes you just have to just stop, take a moment and take care of you. Make sure that you're okay.
Yes. I feel like, you know what? I feel like you are preaching. And so
I try not to.
no, it's a good thing, because to me, we go into the hedges, into the highways, and we compel people to come, right? And
Yeah.
so what you're doing is just in a very creative way, you're compelling people to come into the knowledge of the truth. And the knowledge of the truth is that you matter, you're important, you're here for a purpose, you're here for a reason, and you don't have to go at it alone. And so I'm so excited about everything that you're sharing here today. I hope that you all will tag your friends, your family, your coworkers. Make sure you share this broadcast. If you're learning anything from what Joy Allen is already sharing, please put a one in the comments and definitely hashtag Joy Allen. So let's make sure that we all take a moment and hashtag Joy Allen and get that trending today as you all are coming into the studio audience. Today, we're talking with Joy Allen, who's here talking about mental health. The struggle is real, but so is God. And that's what she's here dropping some knowledge on us about today. She has on her shirt, Joy, I choose joy. And that's profound too, because you say you choose joy. Tell us about that. And then we're going to go to the virtual studio audience comments.
Absolutely. So it's today I choose joy. Every day that we wake up, we have a decision to make. We can choose whether we're going to have peace and joy or whether we're going to just allow, pain and stress and misery come upon us. And I've had enough of the other stuff. I've dealt with enough of that. So I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, today I choose joy. I choose joy. I want the peace. I want the happiness. I want the true joy in my life. And that's what I choose because I've had enough of the other stuff.
All right. So she chooses joy. So joy does not simply happen. It doesn't simply happen to us. We have to choose joy and keep choosing it every single day, making sure we make a conscious choice. That's a quote by Henry. I don't know who he is, but the point is, this is a great quote that he said, and I thought it was excellent. So never, ever give up on things that's going to bring us joy and bring us a smile in this journey called life. Okay. thejoyallen@gmail.com is her email. And what we're going to do is go to our studio audience comments and let's just start. Mackenzie, before I get you into work mode back there, Mackenzie is one of our staff members that helps me backstage from time to time, and she's doing a great job, by the way. I just wanted to, she had typed a comment back here, and I wanted her to pop on for a second because it's relevant to what we're talking about. So Mackenzie, you can pop yourself on. Actually, you know how to do that. So pop yourself on. How are you, Mackenzie?
I'm good. How are you?
Put us in a different background here. Mackenzie, if you would, please let me put myself down there. And Mackenzie, tell everybody who you are and a little bit about yourself and what you came on to say.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm 21, I'm married, and I have a 15-month-old son. I myself am a victim of mental illness. It started when I was younger in high school. My parents went through a divorce, and whenever that happens, it feels like your world is literally falling apart. Whenever my mom told us that she was filing, I literally sat outside my grandparents' house just like bawling my eyes out probably for a good 6 hours. And shortly after that, I started self-harming every day, probably for about 2 years. And then when I was a senior in high school, I took a bottle of ibuprofen and ended up going to a psychiatric hospital for about a week or two and was in intense therapy coming out. And it doesn't really like go away you can take your medicine and go to therapy and everything, but it doesn't just become like something that you don't deal with anymore. It just manifests in different ways. And so when I was 19, I found out I was pregnant with my son, Remy. And I was a single mom. My son's father broke up with me literally like 6 weeks in. And so I was doing this alone. And so I went from like a freshman in college to having to do this all by myself. So I was, doing everything I could to have a natural like good pregnancy, and I did that. And then after I had him was when my depression got really bad, because I was the person that got up at 2, 4, 6 a.m., midnight, doing all the diaper changes and nursing. I didn't have anyone else to do it with me, and I was running on an empty cup, because even though he was a baby, I was pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And so probably at about 4 months postpartum, I just had a day where it was like a week straight where I was working. I called out of work every day. I was laying in my bed. I was just bawling my eyes out because I was exhausted, and I had no one there to pick up the pieces. And so it was terrible. Like, so I got on a better medication. But I mean, if you don't have anyone there to pick up the pieces, who's going to take care of the baby? So I just kind of put it on the back burner and continued pushing and pushing and pushing. And it wasn't something where it was like I could call 911 or whatever, because I had Remy. I couldn't bring, so it was like where I was mentally devastated, but I didn't have the support to where I could have gone and taken care of myself and gone to therapy or whatever. So it was mentally exhausting, because I was pouring myself into this little baby that I love him with all my heart. But it was like, I can't do anything, because if I did do something, he would be taken away. So
that's a whole different issue.
Yeah. So it was like, this is my reason not to do it. But it was also kind of my reason too, because postpartum, if you're a man and you're watching this, you don't really know, after you have this newborn, your body completely changes from being pregnant and everything to literally hormones surging through your body all the time. And then right after you have the baby, you're like, okay, here you go. And you're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And so then they send you home a day or two after with nursing and your hormones, you're bleeding for 6 weeks. It's terrible. And you don't know what the heck you're doing. And you just have this little child, and everyone's like, rest up, it's okay. I'm like, how are you expecting me to rest? Like, it's not something you can just, coast through, because your body's literally purging the hormones from this pregnancy, and then the hormones manifest in a different way, especially if you're like nursing, or even if you're formula feeding, whatever, it purges into different ways. And so for me, my hormones just went into a different kind of, it didn't just get rid of it, it manifested into almost kind of like a hate relationship towards my son. And that sounds bad, but just kind of like, this child needs everything from me, and I don't have someone I can just hand him to watch for a few hours for me to even just nap. And so meant like a few months went by, and like when you're a mom, you don't really have a chance not to recuperate, because you're always with the kids, you're always taking care of your children, you're always pouring from an empty cup, and you don't really have a chance to just be. Wow. And so a lot of the things I've dealt with lately is I don't know who Mackenzie is outside of a wife and mom.
So how do you suggest, Joy, with you being the expert today on this episode, and we're going to go to all of our virtual studio audience comments and questions, but what advice would you give a Mackenzie who's here pouring out her soul, and she's like crying out for help, basically? What advice would you give her?
And yes, and I definitely understand, like, postpartum is definitely, it's a real thing, just like, any mental health issue, it's something, and not everyone understands it, and not everyone can understand it. So that's why you have those people who are telling you, oh, just get some rest, you'll be okay, and that kind of thing. And it's with any type of mental illness, it's like people are saying, oh, just shake it off, you'll be okay. It's all right. But I'm saying, are you telling people who have physical illnesses like diabetes or cancer, or someone that may have broken a leg or something, are you saying, oh, just walk it off or shake it off, you'll be okay?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, we're not treating it equally. It needs to be treated equally. And that's the thing that I really want to get across. It's like, we need to take our mental health as seriously as we do our physical health. They are equally important. That's one thing that we have not, as a society, understood, and we really need to understand that. And so for Mackenzie, in your situation, and I know it's not always easy, but self-care is so important. You have
Well,
to find a way to make sure that you are able to take care of you because you matter too.
Well, it was just like whenever people were like, just rest, it's okay, just pray about it. I'm like, how am I supposed to rest? This child, like, if I showered, he was in a bouncer in the room with me. If I wanted coffee, I was baby wearing him to make my coffee. If I wanted something to eat, it would wait an hour for a microwave because I was nursing, putting him down for a nap or whatever. You don't have a chance to just hand it off to someone. I didn't have a chance to hand it off to someone because like I didn't. And so there would be times where he would be crying and I didn't know what to do because I would feed him, I'd change him, lay him down, I'd burp him, whatever, and he was still scream crying. And so I'd be there just bawling my eyes out like I don't know what else I can do. And so eventually it gets better. Eventually it does get better because you don't know what's going on mentally until you open up. And so recently I had this thing called Guillain-Barré, which is a bad reaction I got to the COVID booster, and it shocks your nerves into thinking it's fighting an illness, but really the nerves are just fighting itself. And so it ate away at my nerves. So on my 21st birthday in February, I went to the hospital because my fingers and toes were numb. And then by the end of the stay there, they sent me home basically to die with steroids and painkillers, and I couldn't walk. So my husband had to carry me up the stairs, help me bathe, like a lot of the stuff that I used to be able to do. And so after that, I went to the number 2 trauma center in the state of Tennessee and in Knoxville, and they were able to find out what was wrong. And then I ended up going to an inpatient physical therapy hospital. But during that whole thing, everyone was like, I understand, you're so strong, like you got this. I'm like, have you ever not been able to walk? Have you been able to walk for 21 years and then one day your legs are just like, nope, sorry, we're not doing it. Like I literally had to be in a wheelchair for a month and then had to use my walker for probably a month and a half. And I went to physical therapy 3 times a week. And then like 2 weeks in, my son was with my son's father's family for a few weeks. But when he came home, I was alone with the baby and I was in my walker and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I mean, he's more independent now because he's a toddler, but I was like, I can't, like, so I had to relearn everything. And so now I'm 3 months out and I can walk and shower and run and do everything by myself basically. And everyone's like, how did you do that? I'm like, I didn't have a chance, but because if I didn't do it, who would? Like, it wasn't something where I could have just made my husband do it, which was why we got married in the first place. Because during that whole thing, I was in the hospital and he was by my side the whole time. He wouldn't leave the room. He slept in the chair. He came and saw me every day when I was in the physical therapy hospital. But it was just kind of like, if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it? And so I came home and kind of just saw it as a second chance because you don't know what you have until it's gone. Like I still can't drive. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I work for Kim. And so it's just kind of like, I mean, if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it? And so I'm able to take Remy we have a park in our apartment complex. I take him to the park in his little stroller. We go outside, we play, like I make him lunch, his breakfast, everything. So it's just kind of like, the reason why 3 months out I'm independent is because I knew coming home I had a 15-month-old, but and I wanted to kick its butt because it made me miss his first steps. It made me miss his first birthday. Kim, you're muted.
You want to kick the disease state's butt because it's butt. I want to make sure it's clear that she wasn't talking about her son. She's talking about
I wanted to kick its butt. And so 2 weeks ago we had a late birthday party for me and Remy because I missed it. And so it's just kind of like mentally everything's exhausting. Like right when you get over something, it goes into another thing. And
Well,
so, I've had therapy, I'm on medication, and yeah.
yeah, somebody said, hey, you also have your own marketing company. Don't play it small. But Mackenzie, I'm going to bring you on your own episode because your story in itself is a full hour. And I'm so honored that you came from backstage to share this because you need just to get this out. And you definitely need to connect with Joy Allen as well. So thank you so much for coming on to share your story. And I appreciate it. Go ahead, Joy.
One more thing too, Mackenzie. I don't know where you live, but walks in the sun. Get as much sun as you can, because to me, that's my antidepressant. That's my natural antidepressant. Whenever the sun is out, it's like I literally feel it. I go out in the sun, and I literally, this is what I had to do just a few weeks ago. I had to escape. I'm in Ohio. It was cold here. It was starting to get to me mentally. I deal with the SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, sometimes too. And I'm like, no, I got to get out of here. So my son lives in Arizona. I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. I went there. And when I went into the sun, it's like I felt, not only did I feel the sun, S-U-N, I felt the sun, S-O-N, covering me. And it just gave me such a peace. And it just took away all the stuff that I was dealing with, that heaviness, that weight. So literally, sun, the vitamin D, all of that will do something to you, not only mentally, but physically as well. And that will help with a lot of the things that we deal with. So God puts these natural things right here that we can have to where, we don't have to be dependent on a lot of different things. But
that's some free stuff. That's some free.
Yeah, it's free.
You don't even have to go pay for it. You just gone out and
Pop that
enjoying
baby in the stroller and go out there and walk in that sun. And I guarantee, and put worship music on, or whatever kind of music you like that will lift you up. Put on uplifting music, and I guarantee you'll feel a lot better. That will definitely help.
Mackenzie, you are a warrior. Thank you so much for everything that you do here on the Kim Jacobs Show, and not just here on the show, but in life with Remy, and choosing life, choosing to continue to move forward in your journey in spite of all of the obstacles that you've encountered. So if you will, I know you're going to pop yourself backstage. You can do it because you're over there with some controls. So do whatever you're going to do. And we're going to also go to the virtual studio audience. But if everything that Mackenzie shared in her story was inspiring to you, please let's hashtag Mac, because that's what she always goes by, Mac, on different places. So hashtag Mac. And she's also a viral TikTok sensation over there. So you can follow her on her social media page. What's your TikTok?
At the Rhodes Family with 2 Y's.
Oh, here, you type that backstage for me and I will pop it in the comments section. So you can follow Mackenzie at the Rhodes Family with 2 Y's, and she's on TikTok as well. And you can also obviously find her here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you, Mackenzie. So let's go to some of the virtual studio audience comments. Come on now. I felt that sun and the sun. I told y'all Joy Allen is preaching up in here. Yes, also you have your own marketing company as well, Mackenzie. So don't be playing it small, somebody said. That's what Jaleesa said. And let's go to a few more of the virtual studio audience. You all are strong women. I'm going to go all the way to the top for a minute because I think I've overlooked quite a few comments and people may have questions. Hey, Kim and Joy, Baton Rouge. Okay, I see you in Pennsylvania. Hey, Joy, we are here, girl. We're here, Hakima said. 3X big baby.
Lisa, Patricia, Hakima.
All right, y'all. Let's see. Shonda says, hello, ladies. Jaleesa, amen. God isn't done with you, Joy. Amen. Praise God for my friend Joy. This is Shonda Joy.
That's my sister.
Jaleesa said, it's absolutely important, Joy, that I love your mission in mental health. Very much needed. Thank you, Kim, for airing this important topic such as mental health. Yes. Another person, this is a very important comment here. I attempted in high school because my parents, this is probably Mackenzie. Okay, Mackenzie was saying that backstage. And then she also contemplated with her postpartum as well. And I wanted you to address that, but now I see that that was Mackenzie's comment. So thank you, Mackenzie, for coming on. It's okay to set boundaries. How important is it to set the boundaries from your perspective, Joy?
Well, it's extremely important. It is so important. I'm going to even do a whole, room on Clubhouse on boundaries, because I realized that that was a big part of my problem. And that's how we end up getting overwhelmed and overstressed, because we don't have boundaries. And for a long time, I didn't even know how to say the N word. No.
No,
I
with
didn't
an
know, I didn't know how to say it.
exclamation point.
It's two letters, but I couldn't say it. It's like I felt like that was a bad word, And so for a long time, it was hard for me to say no, and I still struggle at times with it. But it's like I know how important it is. We must set boundaries. If we don't, we'll not only allow ourselves to be overwhelmed and burn out and overstressed, then it's going to cause us to be bitter towards people when we don't need to be. It's
Yep.
going to cause us to be mad at things and situations, and even put more things on ourselves that we don't need, that aren't necessary. So yes,
Absolutely.
really important.
Yeah. I wrote a book called Extreme Balance Makeover, and it's how people balance all different aspects of their lives. It was my very first publication a book that I published years ago. But one of the things is on page 139, I talk about getting over the need to please everyone, stop being concerned that you will disappoint everybody. People will make it just fine without you. If for some unforeseen reason you couldn't be around, guess what? You'll be surprised how quickly people continue to move right on. That's why in my book that I'm sharing with you, you don't have a reason that you have to apologize for setting the boundaries, and offer another option. If you're anything like me, I hate saying no. But maybe I'll say, in what I talk about in the book here is, maybe I'll say, okay, well, I can't do it on this day, but I can do it on Thursday, or I can do it on this, or it might not be me that can do it, but I can propose that this person can do it, and I'll be happy to connect you, blah, 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 blah. So the point is, just make sure that you take advantage. Look at the book, Extreme Balance Makeover. You can get it, even an electronic copy of it. You can go to kimjacobshow.com to get that. But listen, set the boundaries. Say no when you have to say no, and don't be apologetic about it. Just move on. You got to say no sometimes. All right. I can relate. Jaleesa said, I'm a recovering people pleaser. Breen Bounds, the gift of imperfections really helped me start the process mentally. Are you familiar with that work, Breen Browns?
I just started following her, and it's funny because actually when I was in therapy, I was introduced to her. So yeah,
Okay.
she has a lot of wonderful things as well.
Okay. Self-love leads to self-care. And then someone said, thank you for your persistency and showing up for yourself and sharing your gifts with all of us. All right. Lots of comments. People have shared. Thank you so much. Dr. Richard Serrano and his wife has a show coming out the first week of June, the Marriage CEOs. And so when you're talking about mental health and mental health awareness, couples together, okay, when you're dealing with mental health by yourself, when you're dealing with mental health and you have your spouse, that's a lot to contend with. So make sure y'all check out the Marriage CEOs and the Serrano show coming up in June. And let's see, lots of ones. People said they learning so much, so much, so much. And they said, Joy Allen, hashtag enjoy Allen, hashtag enjoy Allen. Lots of ones. Yes, yes. And we heard God's voice, and he said, don't do it, because there were contemplations of suicide, according to what the Serrano family is saying as well. And he said, don't do it. Did you hear a voice, Joy?
I felt God's presence with me, and even the recent times when I had those dark thoughts try to come back and tell me that you're not worth it, or what are you doing, or you're not where you're supposed to be, and just tell me all those negative things, putting those things, that was even recent, and it's like, and I had to really just kind of take authority over that. And it's like, okay, and then it's like God really was just telling me, you are who I say you are. You are a child of the Most High King. And so so I had to realize not only who I am, but whose I am, who I belong to. And God let me know that I'm not done with you. You have so much work to do. You're not going anywhere yet. Your time ain't over yet. So I'm still here.
I am so excited that he put that down in your spirit, because you're bringing so much joy to this world and so much joy to the Kim Jacobs Show viewers today. Listen, Jacqueline says, thank you so much for sharing, Joy. I can truly relate. I see your comments coming in.
Hi, JJ.
Come on now, Joy. I felt that sun and the sun. And then obviously more comments that's been pouring in about Mackenzie as well. If you want to stay connected with Mackenzie, also, you can go to Facebook, Max Marketing Instagram, and Max Marketing on TikTok at The Rhodes Family with 2 Y's. On TikTok, it's at The Rhodes, RHODES Family with 2 Y's at the end. And on Facebook, it's Max Marketing. And on Instagram, Max Marketing. All right. So, how can people stay connected with you, Joy Allen?
Well, there are many ways you can stay connected with me. I actually run a weekly room on Clubhouse, which I'm coming back from my sabbatical. So every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find me at the Joy Club on Clubhouse. And my topics are usually about mental health, self-care, self-love. So it's always something positive and uplifting. And I also, if you go to, I have a website where I actually have 3 books that I'm a bestseller of. And by the end of the summer, it'll be 5. So I have books where I've written on mental health, on self-care, on choosing joy. And if you go to my website at thejoyallen.com, you'll be able to, I just have a new inspirational line that I just started. So you'll see this shirt here, and I have mugs and stuff as well that that are going to be available on the site.
And you said your weekly Clubhouse is Sundays at 9 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
Oh, it's the God for me. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Me. And I'm an animal print fanatic, so
that is so cute.
My latest book, this one is based on my latest book, and I chose it just became bestseller this past weekend. And Embracing Imperfections, volumes 1 and 2 is the first one, and Created for Greatness, which with Les Brown, my mentor and coach, was a part of this last project. And that one was Victory Over Fear, was my chapter. So this one is a saying that I love to say: I live better by faith than I do by fear.
Okay, look, I have to go over here to this. I have to go over here to this website for a second, y'all. You know, I'm a visual person, so I'm like, let's get this party started. When y'all go see the joyallen.com, right? Let's put this up, and I'm going to pull this in the screen for a second. The Joy, I love that. Okay, look at this, Joy. All right, okay, look, let me see what's over here.
We're literally just putting everything up. So my web designer is working on adding this to the website. So I don't know if it's on there yet, but it will be by the end of the day if it's not on there now.
Are you living your best life? Are you living your best life? There are lots of choices we make in life, but no matter what challenges we face, remember to always choose joy. Look at the joy. All right. Embracing Imperfections is an anthology. You can get the book right here on thejoyallen.com. And there, can you see the book? Embracing Imperfections, Stories of Inspiration and Encouragement to Overcome Obstacles, right?
Yes, volumes 1 and 2. So there's 2 of them, 2 different ones.
And one you can order, the other one you can pre-order, right?
Well, no, they're all available now. So you can order, yes, they're all available now.
Okay. So there's volume 1. You can grab it there, as well as volume 2 is now available, and it's a bestseller as well. And you can also contact Joy, thejoyallen at gmail.com. She is on Instagram as @joycoach247. And you can also book her for speaking engagements to encourage people to be able to be more joyful. I am so excited. Look at that. The Joy Coach. Now, wow. Okay. We talked about a lot of things. I think we crammed a lot in this hour. And we had Mackenzie come on and share her story, and studio audience members chime in. So a lot's been done. What are some things that you want to leave the studio audience with today?
Well, one of my main goals is I want us to make sure that we do what we can to break the stigma of mental health. I want people who are struggling with mental health to not feel alone. You know, I don't want people to be suffering in silence. I want people to be able to come out. So if you know someone who's struggling, you know someone who seems like they may not be, you know, in a good place, they seem like they may be in a dark place, give them a call, talk to them, help them get the help that they need, because you could be saving their lives. And so that is definitely one thing that I just want people to know. And then also, if you're struggling, if you're one of those people who are struggling, just reach out to someone. Do what you can. Just know that you're not alone. And I just want to leave you with the final words. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way.
That's so good. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way and to stay alone in the situation. And sometimes we, as Les Brown often says, we're in the picture frame, so we don't get to see ourselves. So if someone around you is suggesting that you need help, know that they may see something that you don't see because you're inside the picture frame. So if people you know love you are trying to help you get help, then take advantage of the fact that they have your best interest at heart. And they're not going to do you harm. They're trying to get you the help that you need so that you can have a better outcome in life. So keep that in mind. Today's episode is also sponsored by Hunter Everidge Law Firm, hunter-everidge.com. Their phone number is 704-377-9157. Mackenzie, I'm not going to go to any more commercials at this time. I'm just going to say this. And if you're dealing with disability or any type of legal issue that you want to just see if they can help you with it, they're located in multiple states, 704-377-9157. And also getinsured.solutions is another episode sponsor today. When it comes to dealing with final life expenses and things of that nature, the goal is to be able to keep more of the finances with the family that's remaining on this earth instead of having to use it and pay it all out in burial expenses. Make sure you reach out and find out what your options are through getinsured.solutions. They're nationwide, 704-499-3616. And our final episode sponsor today is Lamb Funeral Home. Mr. Terry Lamb, he has 28 years as a veteran. If you're dealing with any type of final expenses and you know that you're getting ready to lay a loved one to rest and you don't know what the benefits are to you, they're certified in all 50 states as well. And you can reach out to them at 704-782-3011. A lot of times people want to know, how can you support the Kim Jacobs Show? How can you partner with us? The way that you can partner with us to provide daily programming at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time is just by submitting a Cash App. Mackenzie would tell you, please submit the Cash App, and anybody on the Kim Jacobs Show team, because this is how we keep the program operating at this level and bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Even though Les Brown did tell me yesterday, he was like, Kim, it's about 7 billion people in the world. If you're going to be doing that, that's going to take you a long time. I get it, Les. It's going one household at a time, but we got to start somewhere, one household at a time. And you can Cash App $ Kim Jacobs Inc. Thank you so much, Rose Slade. Thank you, Allison Ski, and all of those that contribute online to the Kim Jacobs Show. All right. So when you think about Joy Allen, I know we're going to close here. You think about, I think about sometimes there are things like some foods we like, some activities we enjoy doing. Tell us something that you just get a big smile outside of walking in the sun. I already know that one. What else brings you great joy?
Oh, wow. Well, I love hiking. I love climbing mountains. So I was supposed to originally be in Arizona for 2 weeks, and I ended up staying a whole month. I love I'm a nature girl. I'm a tomboy. So I'm not one of those girls you'll find in hills and that kind of thing. I would rather be in my sneakers and, climbing mountains somewhere. But I just love being out in nature. So that just makes me feel at peace and gives me the calming peace that I need. So anything where I'm hanging around outside, and I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I'm one of those girls that, I don't have to, I can wash them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you can get up under the nails and then go about your business. I went hiking on, what was it? Some big mountain, Crowder's Mountain in Charlotte. Girl, that hike took us about 3 hours, first of all. It was good. It was fun. I was with my family. I was excited about that. But girl, my knee felt so bummed. It was all I was like, I had to rest it.
I actually smashed my knee. The last hike I went, I smashed my knee on a rock. And we were doing a photo shoot. So I told my daughter, I'm like, okay, let me get the pain out of my face and so I can smile. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. It's like that looks like
painful. Hurt and take it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have been just a joy and a delight to have here on the Kim Jacobs Show today. Thank you all, virtual studio audience, for all of your wonderful comments and your questions. Mackenzie, thank you for popping on and sharing your heartwarming story. And Joy, thank you for addressing some of her concerns in life as well. Listen, everybody, tune in again from tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Friday, we have our Freestyle Friday experts coming on as well. And so hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. And keep in mind that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I definitely want to make sure that we continue to recognize that mental health is important. And I thought I was putting this image up, but for some reason it's not coming up. I don't know. Anyway, I want to let you know that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, as well as Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month as well. And 3 of my children live with cystic fibrosis. Out of the 1 in 17,000 African Americans that have the potential of having CF, 3 of them live in my household. So throughout the month, I will be educating you all on cystic fibrosis and the lung disease that it is, and how mucus builds up in the lungs. And it's just a bizarre situation. But my children are warriors, the 3 that do live with this, and they are kicking CF in the head. Okay. You can always go to cysticfibrosisfoundation.org to learn more about CF as well, and to educate yourself on it. There are about 30,000 people that live with this disease state. And again, 3 of those 17,000 that are African Americans live right in my house. So I'll be educating you all throughout the month. All right. Thank you for being here today, Joy Allen.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And please stay backstage for a second. Remember, if you need help, go ahead and reach out to the Suicide National Prevention Hotline, 800-273-8255. And go to the Joy Club right on Clubhouse, Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hear her motivational tips and messages regarding mental health. Purchase her books right at thejoyallen.com and send her a personal email at joyallen@gmail.com. That's our show today, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow.
God bless.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.